Hi guys, welcome now to part 2 of this video series that I've been doing concerning the Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales. This time around I'm focusing on some IEMs which Hifigo has. It's basically brands that you're going to be hard pressed to find from other stores, and I'm talking about the likes of Juzear, I'm talking about Aful, I'm talking about Cklvx, I'm talking about Mayor Audio, I'm talking about Slevo. Although they obviously do carry many other brands, they're pretty big as well on Dunu, so they've got some solid offerings. One of those offerings which I think is solid and more so now during the sales is the Juzear X Z reviews, the Defiant, the 1+3 hybrid. Really solid IEM. Very good IEM. I was actually quite impressed when I first heard it, and I said to myself, how is this possible at $100? Because it sounded significantly more expensive. Solid bass, great mid-range, vocals are clean, detailed, very engaging, very engaging, and probably one of the best IEMs that Z Reviews has collaborated, if not his best one. Obviously the collaborations are what they are, but you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Let me see, just go back here. Another one which I think is still worthwhile and very much a solid IEM is the Aful Performer 5+2 or the Performer 7, whichever way you want to call it. It's the 2+4+1 microplaner from them, an evolution over the original Performer 5. The two different things was the fact that they implemented obviously a microplaner, and they used dual 6mm drivers for the bass. Very solid, and now with the price difference of $50 roughly, I think it's definitely worthwhile considering. Yes, it's got that full house sound, which is very let's say uniform, very coherent. Maybe some of you might find it lacking in the bass, maybe some of you might think that the highs are a little bit too intense. In my opinion, I think it's very coherent, it's very balanced out, it doesn't do anything wrong. It just sounds very uniform across the board. There's also the Juzear Harrier, which I haven't listened, so I cannot talk too much about it, but it's also been reduced now during the sales period with a discount of $30, which I think might be worthwhile considering. But like I said, I haven't reviewed it, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. The same thing goes for the Aful Dawn, which has been reduced quite significantly. The Dunu, the X-Koto Ito, also reduced. I'm waiting on it to arrive, and as soon as I do get it and review it, I'll talk about it. But $30 price difference is significant. The Explorer is an IEM that I do know pretty well, and at $30 below its normal price, it makes it a solid choice. It's obviously you might ask, oh, but what about the Explorer versus the Defiant, because they're very similar in the price. I would say the Defiant perhaps a little bit more detailed up top, the Explorer fuller in the bass department, but either one of them really solid options in terms of more budget orientated hybrids. One obviously being a 1+2, which is the Explorer, the Defiant being a 1+3. Of course, the Puller Audio Unicron, one of the most solid single DDs that you can find out there right now, in my opinion. Really solid IEM, sound that has no issues with going up against the likes of things like, for example, the Tanchjim Oxygen. In my opinion, it can hold its own against something like that, and that's a significantly more expensive IEM. I mean, we're talking about an IEM that now during the sales period, the Puller, the Unicron is $68, and for $68, if what you want is a more audiophile, a more mature type of signature that is very engaging, very complete, with great bass, great mids, great vocals, great highs as well, you can't really go wrong with the Unicron. You can't. There's a few others. The Da Vinci still perhaps is worthwhile considering. It depends whether or not you like its overall signature. It was probably one of the first IEMs as well to use two dynamic drivers in the lower frequency range, one for the bass and one for the mid bass. The Cantor has also been reduced significantly to $200, but it's a very, I would say, very niche orientated IEM. But who knows, if you want an all BI IEM that has very detailed mids and highs, could be something considering. the Dunu, the DK3001, I think in terms of the 1+4 plus, of a tribute using BAs, DDs, and microplaners, very solid IEM. I think the 242 and the 142, which are the latest releases from them, kind of perhaps went and fetched inspiration on the DK3001, in my opinion. Obviously, the DK3001 is the more expensive of this style of implementation by Dunu, but with the reduced price now of around $80, I think it's worthwhile considering. Honestly, I do think. Have a listen to it, obviously, if you can, but I think it's worthwhile. It's a worthwhile option. Few other IEMs here from Kefine, the Quatio, in terms of a 2+2 IEM, and priced at around $110 roughly now during the sales. So it's a $20 price difference. Not a huge price difference, but I think a price difference nonetheless, which is interesting and makes the Quatio even more solid than what it already is. There's also the clean. There's also the Delci, the AE and the normal Delci, which I think are still very solid IEMs. Probably the AE would be the one that makes the most sense, because it's already got the exchangeable nozzles, and probably be the one that makes again the most sense. From Tanchjim, a couple of offerings. We have the Fission, which is using as well the DMT5 driver, which is the same driver as I've mentioned before as on the Origin. The Fission is at $100 right now during the sales. And if what you want is a very well-tuned IEM using that Tanchjim type of sound, which focuses on the mids, definitely the Fission is worthwhile considering. Of course, the Nora and the Origin I still think are on its own and are worthwhile as well. Let me see what else I think. Oh, of course, the Elysian, the Acoustic Labs, the Pilgrim, with $100 less, worthwhile, definitely. Okay, it's an expensive 1+3, let's put it that way. Perhaps a little bit difficult to ultimately justify when I'm comparing it to something like the Juzear, which I talked about, the Defiant, which I talked about just a few minutes ago. But I mean, you of course are paying for this extra amount with a better quality drivers inside. It's using Sonian BAs. It's got a really nice LSR dynamic driver, very solid build quality. But look, ultimately at the end of the day, it's this that matters. Are you able to afford it, and does it play well in your ears? Those are things which I cannot answer, and only you are going to be able to decide. So if you have the ability to listen to these IEMs, definitely do that. Don't just jump into spending money just for the sake of spending. Let me see here what else is interesting from them. The Juzear, the Butterfly, the 61T is very much like the Defiant, significantly reduced now during these sales from $219 to $149. So that's a big price difference at $70. The Butterfly is very much like the Defiant again, but slightly more laid back. Some found it a little bit stale, a little bit boring. I didn't find it that way. I found it very, very, very entertaining, very correct. And if anything, I actually thought that the Defiant reminded me very much of the Butterfly, and to that extent I can say that yes, if you can't afford the extra amount of money to get you into the Butterfly, the Defiant will definitely be a solid alternative. There isn't much difference in terms of sound between the two, to be honest. Excuse me. The Dunu, the Titan S2, at the price which is now being sold, which is $63. Yes, it does encounter some other options which are very solid, but I think the Titan S2 is still solid enough to be considered. Let me see here what else. Performer 5, I don't think it's worthwhile, honestly. $158, yes, is a big difference over the original price, but there are other IEMs that I think are going to be a little bit more solid. Another interesting option that you might be worthwhile considering is the Rose Elsa, the Aurora Ultra, the 1+1 from Rose Techniques. Really nice IEM, really nice, and it's for $35. Nothing that you can really complain about. Then we also have the likes of the Intuaura Balance, very much, let's say, along the lines of the sound that you get from the puller. But if you listen carefully, you will see that there's a difference in terms of the sound. The balance is a little bit more polished, and ultimately does, to a certain extent, justify its, its extra value in terms of cost. Really good IEM, trust me, really good IEM. The Intuaura balance, and also the impact, which I'm finishing its review, two very solid IEMs from Intuaura, which is a brand that used to be carried by Linsalt, by the way. Let me see. Of course, Magic One. If you want a single BA that's properly done, and now at $79, definitely something that I think could be justified. No longer is it going to be the reason for not purchasing. Oh, it's so expensive. I remember back when I reviewed it, I used to say that, okay, people are considering this expensive, $140, fine, but what about stuff from Etymotic, also single BAs, and also costing absurd amounts of money if you're going to go down that road. The reality is the Magic One for a single BA is a solid IEM. One other very solid IEM, which again can be picked up now during the sales for a nice price, significant difference, $65 if I'm not mistaken, is the binary acoustics, the Dina Quattro. Really solid, multiple DD IEM. Probably one of the most solid IEMs in terms of multiple DDs. Really well implemented, great sounds, very coherent. The driver matching is flawless. You don't perceive that there are three drivers being used inside, or since the fourth one is a passive. Very well done, very well done. Let me see. The volume S, I didn't get the opportunity to get it, so I didn't listen to it, so I can't really say. Yes, I find there's a $30 price difference now. I heard enough praises to say that yes, I think it's justified and could make sense purchasing. Let me see here if there's anything that I'm perhaps escaping. The Tanchjim, the 4U, the DM with the DMT4 driver, I don't think it's done enough to justify itself, to be honest. Fine, there's a little bit of a price difference now, but it hasn't done enough to just, to make it, okay, worthwhile getting. The Hifigo, the Q UTG, I've mentioned it before. Again, an IEM that I think has done enough and is sufficiently different to make sense purchasing. Really engaging sound. Honestly, really engaging sound. The Dunu Kima 2, sorry. Although not a huge price difference, it's a $20 price difference. The Kima 2, I think, is one of the most underrated single DDs. I would say the Kima 2 and the Fission from Tanchjim are probably two IEMs that didn't get the deserved attention, honestly. Both are excellent in terms of their sound. Very well built, solidly built, full metal shells, well accessorized. Seriously, two IEMs that I think should get a little bit more attention. Let me see if I'm missing anything else. The Dunu Falcon Ultra still well worthwhile. Yes, fine. The Relentless from Kinera, the Kinera Celest Relentless 1+6, now at $99. I guess you can't complain. And it is solid enough. It is a very fun, engaging sounding IEM. Not the most correct sounding IEM, but fun and engaging definitely it is. Let me see. The Clean I've mentioned already. The Yaksha from Celeste as well. 2+1+1, so 2+2. Solid IEM, very solid, very much along the lines of the likes of the Quattro in terms of its overall configuration and sound. The price difference as well is not huge. It's about a $20 price difference, but I think it does enough, much like the Quattro, to justify itself being a possible purchase during this period. Let me see if there's anything else that I'm perhaps escaping and not talking about. No, I think that's basically all of them. Let me see here. Yeah, that's basically it. Okay, you got the Tiara and the Shell. A few other offerings from Moondrop, the NiceHCK, the NX8, really solid IEM as well, by the way. Oops, my God, My apologies. I don't know for how long this wasn't focusing. My apology, guys. The NX8 from NiceHCK, really good IEM, really good IEM. Sounds solid. Now at $162, so $40 price difference from its normal price. I think it's worthwhile taking into account. Definitely taking into account. 1 + 6 + 1 PZT. Just showing it to you guys better here slightly. There you go. Let me see, and I think that about covers it. I mean, there are some things here from Cklvx that again are worthwhile looking into in terms of price and seeing if the price is right for you and you know, falls within what you're wanting to spend. Let me just see if there is any one that I maybe forgot. Oh, yeah, the Tanchjim right now at $129. You know, $60 difference, or $50 difference, sorry, is a significant difference to justify it maybe as a 1+4. But again, there's a few other IEMs which are of similar configuration, which I think are more solid and maybe not, you know, maybe not under that circumstance, maybe not the ideal choice. The Kinera Cklvx. Let me just see if there's anything that I'm missing. From Cklvx, the D62 has got a $30 price difference, could be worthwhile considering as well. 2 + 6 has its plus points, but I don't think it did enough compared to the competition. On the other hand, the CK2V, yes, that did do enough, and as I was saying earlier, the CK2V, for example, compared to something like the Aful Performer 5, I think the CK2V and the sleeve of the 224 are two very solid IEMs in terms of their sound and especially their price point. Slightly different tunings on either one, but really good implementations of microplaners. Perhaps the CK2V a little bit brighter, a little bit more intense, but very impressive sounding. I am very detailed. If you like details, you won't regret the CK2V. Guys, and that's basically it. Like I said, there's a number of items which Hifigo always carries. There's a couple of new ones, like I said, as well, that they've just released. The likes of the Dunu 142, which is kind of like the DK3001, as I've mentioned, the Dunu 242, the Harrier, the High Senior, the Mega 7 as well. High Senior, they have some nice or interesting deals on the Mega 5 EST, so maybe worthwhile considering as well. And a few other items in terms of their electronics, the dacs, the daps as well. They've got some nice stuff. Have a look at them, see if there's anything that maybe interests you. If you have the ability to listen to the stuff, listen to it first, and then go into purchasing. And that's basically it, guys. All right, I'll catch you in the next reviews. Hopefully the Dunu Kito, the Ito Koto, sorry, and the Harrier are the ones that I'm wanting to review next. And that's that. All right, you take care now. Bye bye.